Welcome to Monday Night Ticket. Guest and host will talk about their favorite sci-fi, paranormal, and fantasy movies on this 1-hour show. Guest and movies will be pre-announced so viewers can watch the movie before we talk about it. The audience is encouraged to chat with questions and post their views. Your host, Leigh Warner, is an animal-loving, Jeep-loving girl, loves sci-fi movies and talking about them. She is full of random facts and has usually tried it at least once. Now, your host of Monday Night Ticket, Leigh Warner.
Good evening, villagers, and welcome to the Monday Night Ticket. Tonight, I have Dr. Heather Leigh Landon on, and we are going to be reviewing Abe Lincoln, the Vampire Hunter. But before I bring Dr. Leigh on, I would like to go over some of her incredible accomplishments, and I'm sure I'm not going to mention all of them, but she has a doctorate in philosophy, in Metaphysical Humanistic Science. She's a Certified Paranormal Investigator and an EVP, Certified EVP Technician. She is founder of Exploration Paranormal in Southwest Central Florida. She's a member of the Paranormal Bureau of Investigation and Research. She's also a member of ParaNexus Anomalous Research Association. She is an author of Southern Nevada Ghost Towns, Ghost and Legends of the Vegas Valley, Haunted Florida Lighthouses, which has my favorite lighthouse on it, which is Ponce de Leon Lighthouse, from where I used to live when I lived in Florida. And she also, her book is being I can't talk, I'm trying to talk too fast, adapted into a children's book. So that's really cool. She is a host here on WLTK DB Talk Radio, exploring the paranormal. And, sorry, I can't read my handwriting. Ghost Education 101, contributes to Touch of Magic podcast, and she teaches numerous classes. So without further ado, I would like to bring on Dr. Leigh.
Hello.
Hello. And what did I forget to mention?
I think you got it all.
Cool. So I met you through your podcast, which
Yes.
I found very informational and helpful. And you've always answered questions that I put in there. You helped my friend who was having a bad experience in her apartment by providing some help with how to protect her apartment. So I understand that you were busy this past weekend at a paranormal something con down in Orlando.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Phantasm. It's actually a horror convention.
Oh, it's a horror convention.
Yeah, so they have all the horror, I guess you would say B-movie horror, like Night of the Living Dead and all of that were there, all the stars from that. But then they had a paranormal track where they invited several of us to come and do lectures and kind of speak about the paranormal, and they're kind of trying to go that direction with the conference.
Cool. So that was a full weekend for you then.
Yeah. And we decided not to get a hotel room. So we drove back and forth 30 to 45 minutes, depending on traffic every day.
Yeah, and let me tell you, someone who used to live in Florida, I-4,
Yes.
you can spend hours on it and not move an
yeah.
inch.
And that was our only way home.
Yeah. Oh, great. And let's see, is Hurricane Leigh in Florida?
Leigh went north.
Oh, did he? I don't know.
Yeah, it curved and went to Canada.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, maybe it will help put out some forest fires.
Yeah, hopefully.
So we can breathe. So what kind of fun things do you have upcoming?
Upcoming, I am teaching 2 classes at TMCC. It's out in Reno, Nevada. It's Truckee Meadows Community College. They are online. So if you go to TMCC or Google search TMCC classes, it is the 25th is going to be the ABCs of Paranormal Investigations, where I go almost like a dictionary from A to Z on all the different paranormal terms. And then 2 weeks later, I have Ghost Hunting 101 that I'm teaching there. And like I said, both are virtual, 6 to 9 p.m. Pacific. So it's 9 to midnight here Eastern time. And then
hi, Resnick. I'm glad you joined us. I always forget because I can't. He's on Faces of Horror, and the first time I voted, it was like 8 p.m. at night or something. So I always got to make sure I vote at night for him. Oh, and Bill is on. Sometime, Heather, you'll have to come up and investigate Bill's school, which is in drawing a blank. I've only been there 5 times. Okay, Bill, type where your school is.
I have days like that all the time.
Broadhead Manor in Broadhead, Wisconsin.
Okay. Yep.
Which I've been there several times. We did a fundraiser and we got a tour, but then I also from Bill had given us a private tour, and that was very interesting. So lots of activity, and from the different shows that I've watched that did his, they've caught some good evidence there too.
Cool. Always love investigating new locations.
Yes. So your lighthouses this was a great book. I enjoyed reading it. Of course, I went to my favorite ones first. But yeah, and especially I didn't realize Eldora had a lighthouse. It's like it's the only inland lighthouse in Florida.
Yeah.
So
yeah, on a lake, because there are way too many accidents at that little point of the lake. So they put a functioning lighthouse in.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yep.
And then well, we're here to talk about Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter, which is a true story.
Yes. the way he wrote it, it's so believable.
Yes, it is. And who knows if it didn't really happen. Oh, and then I watched it on video, but I was going to listen to it from my library, which I love my library. I get everything from my library. And then I never got a chance to listen to it because it was Halloween this weekend at my campground. But
well, even in the book, it's amazing because they'll do photos and they'll add and they're real photos from that time, but they'll alter them just enough. So they had people standing outside of a store and they put the black glasses on that the vampires wore in the movie. And, Abraham Lincoln, they would have vampire skulls lined up, and some of them would have fangs that they edited into them. So they made the book very realistic. And I think that's what makes the movie that much more interesting.
Yeah. And was the author the one who did Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, or was it just the actor?
No, the author.
Author.
Seth Grahame-Smith.
Yep. Which Pride and Prejudice is my favorite book by Jane Austen. And then I really like Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. That was real good. They really kept to the original Jane Austen. And then they also, I think it was a different author though. They did why am I drawing a blank? I guess I didn't have enough caffeine today. It's another Jane Austen book. It's not my favorite one. It's got, anyways, forget it. I can't even remember. I'll text you at 3:00 in the morning and let you know
That's
when
fine.
I remember. So you did better than me. You really read the book, and I usually like to read books too, if it's before it comes out in movie, if I haven't already. So, but yes,
I read the book long before they ever even decided. It was like out on the shelves one day, and I bought the book and read it that weekend.
Oh, so it's one of those good ones that you can,
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And then I got excited that they announced they were making a movie well after I read it.
Yes. That's why I felt about Pride and Prejudice too. I was like, oh, Pride and Prejudice and zombies. And then so I read it and I was like, oh, this is so good. And then they came out with the movie. So I went and saw that a couple times in the movie theater.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I had forgotten how, I mean, it's great special effects, the train wreck in it. I was just like, wow, this movie is really good.
Yep.
So
yeah, they went. I mean, and even the actors they got were really good.
Dominic Monaghan. He's a great actor. He was like in Mamma Mia and sang, but then he was in this, and the best movie I've ever seen him in. It's called, I don't know what but he plays Saddam Hussein, and the man they forced to be Saddam Hussein's double. So it's based on a real life, and the two characters he played are polar opposites. But it was just, I think he was nominated for Academy Award for it. I'm not sure if he won it or not that year. But yeah, that was an awesome movie.
Yep. Yeah. I like, I'm a big Jimmy Simpson fan.
I don't know who that is. Was he in the movie?
Yes, he was Abraham Lincoln's best friend.
Oh, okay. Speed.
Yes.
Okay, yes, I've seen him in many things. And of course, the man who played Abraham Lincoln did a really good job too. And
Yep. Yeah.
And those ears.
He really brought the role to life. I mean, just made it personable, and you could feel, you empathize with him, which was great. Yeah. Sorry, I'm kicking my dog.
Well, don't kick your dog.
I didn't mean to.
ASPC will come after you. I have both of my cats down below me right now. At least my dogs aren't like banging on the door. Last week's show, I was just sitting here and I'm giggling because I hear it's like fingernails on a chalkboard. My dog's trying to get in. I'm like, ew.
Yeah, mine's usually barking at every little thing.
Well, my dogs don't ever ring my doorbell, please.
You need one of those signs.
Cats go scattering, and cats go scattering, and the dogs start barking. But so what kind of dog do you have? I don't think
mini Australian Shepherd.
Oh, cool.
But she's bigger than 50 pounds, so they still consider that mini in that breed.
Okay. And does she like to herd everything?
Oh, yeah. Yep. She's always pushing us to go somewhere when she wants it, especially when we're going near her treat door, the cabinet with her treats in it. She'll be like pushing us at the ankles to move
to go.
Closer.
Hurry. Oh, and we have Mike joined us. Hello, Mike. And then, I don't know. I do know that I don't see everybody who's watching, so I would like to acknowledge the people who are watching that I can't see your comments or people who will be watching later. So one thing that I sort of, I had very, very interesting history teachers, and I had my one teacher was telling us that looking back on it, the wife of Abraham Lincoln was a little more wacko than what she was portrayed in as the movie. They believe she might have been bipolar. I don't know if that's true or not.
I've heard that same rumor, especially because Mary Todd was really big into spiritualism. And they did everything from seances to Ouija boards, you name it. They did it in the White House.
Yeah, well, you know what? It could just be the the cranius rectum people, or rectum, the blockheads of the time, not believing in anything and then trying to put a stigma on her. But, and the heart-wrenching that they really did lose a child, but then in the movie, they made it that the vampires were the bad vampires were getting back at him. And I didn't remember that Dominic Monaghan was a vampire. I was like, is he a vampire? And then I was like, oh, he is one. So, and Rez has 2 pit bulls, 1 Great Dane, 1 Schnauzer, a Chihuahua, and 4 cats.
He has the starting of a zoo.
He wins. I used to have 4 cats, but some of them have went across the Rainbow Bridge. Oh, and Nikki has joined us. She's saying hi to both me and Heather. Yeah, Nikki and her mom was going to be on my show, but unfortunately we're not going to be going into October. So
yeah.
So my stardom is short-lived.
Oh, you'll find somewhere else to host it. You can just host it on your own Facebook page. That's what I think I'm going to do for a while.
I might try that. I gotta get better at this, but I guess I don't really have to now. No, just kidding. So I know you're a big history buff and you do a lot of research. So I thought it was fun that you picked this movie that has a lot of history and background in it.
Yeah.
But we were also going to, at first we were going to talk about the Mortal Instruments movie, not the TV series, the movie.
Both are still good.
Yeah, the movie's good. Yeah, but the show was good too. But the one thing that made me sad about the movie was that the girl who played Clary, she was on she was on Teen Wolf, and then when she left, it just wasn't, he was supposed to have another love interest, and it just wasn't believable. She was believable, but
I was bummed because I really liked the movie cast. Yeah. And I would have liked to have seen, because they were supposed to do more, but the first one wasn't popular enough.
Yeah.
But then they waited a few years later and relaunched it as a TV series, and that took off.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Oh, and Nikki loves the Mortal Instruments, City of Bones.
I love Cassandra Clare anyway. She's another one of the authors that I read everything she does.
Yeah, I read a lot of her stuff too. And speaking, because I think I had mentioned these books to you. I don't know if you've ever read these, but The Lost.
They're on my list.
Yep. And then, so these are, maybe we'll have a book review show too someday in my future. So I have to figure out how to move things to make them show up. But Sarah Penner. But yeah, I recommend these books too. That's why when I was looking for your book in my bookshelf, I was like, oh, I think I mentioned these to her. So, and I'm sure these are going to be made into a movie soon, or they're pretty popular. So
that would be nice. Yeah.
So which one is it? The Florida lighthouses that's going to be made into a children's book?
Yes, they actually reached out to me last week, and I signed the contract over the weekend. And
Congratulations!
Thank you. I've read some of the guys' work because they actually have a dedicated author that he basically reads my book, pulls things out of the book, and turns it into a children's book.
Yeah, so, yeah. I don't remember having haunted books as a child.
I know. It's a new series that they started 2 years ago with the History Press. So,
well, that's cool. But, that will help the kids that really see things go, oh, it's not just me.
Right.
There's other things happening out there. It's real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, here, I'm going to take my mom to Ponce de Leon and have her look up and see the guy hanging over the thing looking at us.
or Silver Springs here and have someone, apparition fall down like they're going to land on you and then disappear because it's one of those residual energies.
So I want to know, did you go up every lighthouse?
No. Nope.
Yeah, I was going to say you would have, buns of steel.
I wouldn't be the
eyes of iron.
No, the ones that I have gone up would be, I did Jupiter many, many years ago, St. Augustine, and Ponce de Leon. Yeah. But then a lot of that book was interesting because I was laid up with knee surgery. So a lot of that book is based off of my memories from years ago and my notes from years ago. And then I also reached out to the property owners, park rangers, and other investigators to get a lot of the information for that book.
And your knees better?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it was a rough one, but the first knee surgery went really well. This one didn't go quite as well.
Well, my sister needs her second knee surgery, and her first one went so bad that she's not getting her second one done. I mean, everything that could have went wrong. She got an infection. They tore her rotator cuff and her bicep, transferring her. So it was just, she's like, I need another knee surgery. I don't want to have one. I'm not going to have one. So
yeah, if I had my second one first, I probably wouldn't have gone through it again.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's a good thing it was the second experience. So now you have bionic knees.
Yep. And it was a different doctor. I miss my doctor from Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was really good.
You'd think those Florida doctors would have a whole bunch of experience replacing parts.
And she used a robot to help.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah. That's what. So I lived in Florida. I lived in New Smyrna Beach, which is not that far from you. I mean, it is, but it's not. And I lived there from 85 to 91. I gave you some suggestions of things around there to go look at. One of them was Eldora, right? Eldora?
Yep.
Eldora.
Yep,
so have you gotten a chance to go there yet?
No.
Okay.
No, but I know a couple people who have. So I've spoken to them, and I'm hoping we have a whole list of places that we want to get to soon.
Yeah. So me and my sisters were going there, and it used to be just nothing was there except for the house. It wasn't no touristy or anything. You just had no which exit or which, where to park and stuff. We were walking down there. We looked around and stuff. We were walking back, and all of a sudden we hear this really loud noise in the woods. We're like, oh my God, it's going to be a bear. And we were sort of standing there, going, what should we do? It was an armadillo. We got scared by an armadillo.
Those are way too common here. No.
Yes.
You'd think we're in Texas some days.
Okay. So what other movies are your favorites? Or let's see, do you remember what the first movie was that you saw in the movie theater?
Empire Strikes Back.
I think that was Todd's answer. Wow. Okay.
Yep. And I remember that one because we lived in McHenry, Illinois, and it was an old movie theater that was like the first. It was updated for modern days, but it was the first theater in town. And so you still had some of the, the above level balconies and the
balcony seats.
Spread. Yes, gorgeous theater. And I was my mom, dad, and I went, and it scared the crap out of me. And I ended up sitting in the lobby with my mom for most of the movie.
Your poor mom. No.
But then
I really wanted to see it. No.
When Return of the Jedi came out, I saw that 21 times in the theater. I've been a huge Star Wars fan ever since.
Yeah. That's what my mom had around the same birthday as me. Her birthday was 2 days before mine. And that's what we would always go do for our birthdays, is go see the Star Wars movie that came out. The first movie I ever saw in a movie theater was the Poseidon Adventure.
Okay.
Which, the second movie I ever saw in a movie theater was Jaws. Mm-hmm. And that scarred me for life. Yes, I have swam in the ocean, but, I'm hypervigilant because of the movie.
I love swimming in the ocean.
Yeah.
No one else in my family does, but I do.
Yeah, it's good to, if you have, I was a teenager back when I lived in Florida, so it's good to get rid of zits and, and any cuts or anything like that. But yeah, so that, Jaws was the most scarring movie I ever saw. And then it came out, like they had the 30th anniversary or whatever. It came back out in the theaters, and went and watched it. And I even jumped at it because I hadn't seen it in a while. I forgot when the head pops out. I went, ah! So it got me 30 years later too. But Jaws is one of those movies that whenever it's on, you watch it. So
I've only seen it once, and not in the theater.
Yeah, I went to Universal, and we went on the Jaws ride, and I was the one sitting close. I didn't know, otherwise I wouldn't have done it, where the Jaws comes up to jump at you. So I had my sister, my niece and nephew, and another couple, and I literally smushed everybody to the other side of this row because I was like, ah! So
I remember, they took that ride down, didn't they? It's been a while since I've been to Universal, but I remember that ride.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've been to Universal too, but I don't know, but that was a scary ride for me, and I'm sure I scared all the people next to me because they thought they were getting pushed out of the boat. So, what was the scariest movie you ever saw in the movie theater?
I don't remember which one it was because it's one of those experiences I've just blocked out. But it was one of the not Friday the 13th, the Nightmare on Elm Streets.
Oh yeah, yeah. Those are pretty creepy. I remember I saw it on HBO or whatever. When cable wasn't in existence, you just had one HBO or whatever. And I remember I watched it, and then I was having a dream, and like Freddy Krueger came into it. I was like, no more. You're not allowed in any of my dreams anymore. You gotta stay out. So.
Yep. Yeah. No, it was a date I was on, and he picked the movie, and I should have known better. And that was the last date I went on with him.
Good for you. So you pretty quick to figure out what the plot is in movies?
For the most part, it's, and my husband and I do that when we're watching movies. We'll try to guess what's going to happen next, and then we're both like, nailed it when we get it right.
Exactly. I was like, I completely missed that.
Right. We even do that like in reality TV. If we're watching something, we're like, this is going to happen
next. Which is also scripted. No.
Some of it is.
Yeah. Always remember, TV is entertainment. No.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
So it sucks me in all the time.
Yeah, I still like watching a lot of the TV shows, and sometimes I'll watch, I'm sure you heard me say this on some of my other shows, but Hoarders,
Oh,
because it makes me feel so much better about my own life. It makes me feel like my house is clean.
yeah.
And I feel
I
bad
won't
for the
say
people,
the H
but
word is not allowed in my house.
I feel bad for them at times, but it's just like, I look around, it's like, okay, I don't need to clean today.
Let's just get off of this subject. It's making me uncomfortable.
It's okay.
Okay. So I know. So you go into scary places and investigate. What was the scariest place you've ever been in?
The Florence Mine.
And
It
is that
is.
in Nevada?
It's in Goldfield. We were the first and, as of now, the only team to investigate. And it was just because we were filming a TV pilot for Discovery
and
Channel.
Then I've heard you say that, and then COVID
And then
came.
Exactly, shut the whole thing down. But that was nonstop activity. And it was the first time that I had ever been psychically attacked by a spirit, because I was in a collapsed area of a mine. And normally I'm claustrophobic, but crawling into this mine, I felt perfectly fine. But then when I got back to this collapsed area, I couldn't breathe.
Oh.
I heard men screaming. I felt like I was being crushed.
Oh, so it's almost like you were doing a psychic or a physical medium where you were experiencing what the miners felt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And they got me out of there, and I was perfectly fine. So, and to me, that was I've been attacked by spirits. I've been pushed, shoved, tripped, flipped, you name it. They've done it to me. But that was the first time that I was scared because I had no idea what was happening to me.
Oh, yeah, that would be scary.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you did. Did you learn more protection techniques after that experience, or?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. I ramped up my protection, but we did find out that there are still bodies buried back there that they just never got out. So,
well, and who knows, they might not have been malicious, even though you felt it. It could have been like, someone's here, finally. We can tell somebody what happened to us.
Right. Yep. Yeah. It was interesting. It didn't feel like you said, didn't feel negative, but it was definitely scary. And I wanted to crawl back in there, but they wouldn't let me.
That's probably very good of your team members.
And of course, you had the production crew. Yeah, let her go.
Yeah, really. It's entertainment. Let her go back in there.
Let her go back in.
Thanks, people. Thanks, Discovery. No, or whoever it was.
No, our production crew is great, and I'm still friends with all of them. And we all still stay in contact.
So currently, I know you said that your son goes with you on investigations, and he's good at asking random questions to get a honest response for like EVPs and stuff. But who else is on your investigation team these days?
Yeah. Hey, stop it. Dog's chasing the cat. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
My husband goes with us. So my paranormal team is just my husband, my son, and I.
Okay.
Yep.
So people you can yell at and who will listen to you. That's good.
Exactly. And I always joke that I know who I'm going on an investigation with because I train them right.
Exactly.
Yep. I train them my way.
Yeah, they're not going to do something weird on you.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. I always joke because my investigator friend out in Vegas, him and I worked perfect with each other. And when we moved, it was so, heartbreaking because it's like, who am I going to work with now? And just before we moved, my husband and my son stepped up to the plate and they're like, well, we'll do it with you.
Aww. Well, that's sweet.
It works out perfect.
And your daughter's not interested in it, right?
I don't have a daughter.
Okay, maybe I'm thinking of because you were on a show with kids, but it must have been Joe Frankie's.
Joe Frankie's daughters.
Daughters. Okay, sorry,
Yeah.
confused.
Yeah, his daughters were always interested in it, but he never let them. And my son's been doing it since he was 15. So,
Well,
two different parenting techniques.
okay. Well, I know last week Todd had said that we didn't have to do a commercial, but he hasn't said anything about that this week. So we're at the bottom of the hour. So I believe that we should go on a commercial break.
Okay.
If Todd agrees.
See, this is his test to see if he's paying attention.
This is a test. Is Leigh? Okay. We don't have to take a break. He said only if we like to. So I know. Do you have to get up and smell the flowers for a minute?
No, I'm good.
Otherwise, I'm good. So
I'm good if you are. You just ignore my dog and my cat chasing each other.
Oh, that's fine. So I hardly watch what I call regular TV, where they have commercials about movies and stuff. So I don't even really know what kind of movies are going to be coming out. So do you have any movies that you plan on going and seeing?
No, I'm the same way. I wait till it shows up on HBO or Max now is what they changed it to, or Netflix.
Yeah. Well, I have Amazon Prime and Paramount Plus and Disney. So I just watched The Little Mermaid live action.
How is that one? I haven't seen that one yet.
Which I never saw the cartoon one, so I don't really know. I compared it to you. But I did go see my favorite Disney that, like, because I'm not a musical person, but was Beauty and the Beast. So I went and saw that in the movie theater. I watched the live version. I don't know what they call that. And then, so I like that. The only song I don't like is Be Our Guest, but I got to fast forward these days. Yeah. So.
Yeah, technology we didn't have years ago.
Yeah. So I found this interesting too. So you worked at Disney for a while.
Yes, many, many years.
And
I'm trying to think. I started in 97. I was in recreation. I worked as a lifeguard at the All-Star Movies until I got pregnant with my oldest son. And then I took a leave of absence and ended up not returning afterwards. But then shortly after I'm trying to think, because then it's been on and off. So then I went to the Vero Beach Resort because I lived in Vero Beach after that. And I worked in the front desk for several years and took time off when I had my second son. And I returned again in recreation, but in Vero Beach. But then they transferred me from Vero Beach back to Orlando, where I was a recreation coordinator for several years. And then I also worked Lake Patrol at Yacht and Beach Club and also outside of Magic Kingdom.
Cool. Yeah, when I was 20, I was trying to make a decision of what to do with my life. And I was either going to go work at Disney or join the Air Force. And I went in the Air Force.
No, it was funny because go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and because the dress restrictions wasn't as tight as it was at Disney. No.
Right. No, they were picky back then. But yeah, I came down to Florida. I was supposed to do an internship for communications. And they didn't communicate, ironically, with the school that they were eliminating the department that I was going to intern in. So I got down here, showed up at casting, and they're like, we have nowhere for you to go. And then that's when I was like, I'll do recreation. And I packed up my stuff, moved down, never went back. And then several years later, my parents came down.
Very interesting. So we won't say it's the D place. Was did you have you ever had experience at that place that you can discuss?
Yes, and it's going to be in a future book, but I can discuss it now too. Do you remember when they had that monorail accident where
Yes.
the one guy died? And
Yes.
I was working lake patrol the next morning, and I saw his spirit overlooking the railing down to the lake like he had done every day prior to his death.
Wow.
So he was there. I get strange feelings at Disney All-Star movies because I had responded to an incident there that resulted in someone eventually dying off property, because nobody dies on property. So I've had experiences there. Animal Kingdom Lodge, so many creepy experiences down in the tunnels for the cast members.
Yeah,
And
a
it's
lot of people don't realize that there's a reason why you never see garbage at Disney is because there's tunnels underneath and the garbage
exactly
cans don't get full. It's
right.
magic.
I know.
Goes
It's
down in
amazing
the
how they do it.
tunnels.
And I would say the creepiest experiences that we had was working on Bay Lake, outside of Fort Wilderness area. And we would hear where Discovery Island used to be. And they shut it down when they opened up Animal Kingdom.
Okay.
And they had animals and stuff there, but we would hear strange noises that, on an abandoned island that sounded like people screaming and just strange, creepy things happening there. And then a phantom boy who was always running around river country.
Cool.
We were always called in. Hey, there's a little boy running around. You got to go get him. It's not safe. We'd go with security, check the whole park. Nobody there.
Is Mowgli.
That was almost a daily occurrence.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got one of my old job, we got to go to Disney for like 4 days, but it was like a work building, and then so we got to go like behind the scenes at Disney. The only thing that I really wanted to do that we didn't get to do was go in the tunnels.
They're not that magical.
No, I wouldn't imagine, because nothing in Florida really is. No,
They're pretty,
except for
pretty
the
bland.
people.
I know.
Yeah.
Yes, a lot of people.
Yeah, so I didn't have anything that I can remember paranormal that happened to me when I was at Disney. So I had a friend that worked at Universal. She was Fred Flintstone. And then so you get 2 tickets a month to go to the park, so she would exchange with her Disney friends. So the Disney friends would go to Universal. And so we'd go at least once a year. We would go. We loved Epcot. We went to all the different ones, but we liked Epcot the best. So
yeah. I think that's my favorite park too.
Yeah. Because you can shop around the world.
Drink around the world. No.
Oh, yeah. So when I turned right before I turned 18 in Wisconsin, the drinking age turned to 19. So I missed that. And then I moved to Florida when I was 18, and Florida was 21. So, and then I went in the Air Force. So I never really got that. I never got to drink around the world, but we got to shop around the world. So.
Yeah, I love to eat, drink, shop, whatever's available throughout there.
Which is why I don't use the H word in my house.
No. Trust me, you need to see inside my closets.
No. Only if there's skeletons in there.
Oh, I'm sure there are.
No. So that's a good question. Have you ever lived in a haunted house? I know you first experienced your grandpa coming to visit you after he passed, but years later, which I'm assuming seeing your grandpa wasn't probably scary. Or
No, it was more confusing. But and even we lived in a haunted apartment. even though my husband doesn't believe. I still 100% know it was because, and I called him George, which was probably my first problem naming him, but he wasn't scary at all. I would see him. He was a tall, older man, skinny, always be barefoot, had the blue jean overalls on with no shirt. So he looked like a farmer because where we had lived used to be in Orange Grove. And I would see him come through the front door and into my son's room, which was right next to the front door. And then he would just disappear. And
so it's more of a residual?
I think so in that aspect. But then I had actual interactions with him. Like I would start smelling cigar smoke in our house or in the apartment. And I would go outside to see if anyone was smoking around us, and nobody was. I'd come back in the house, the smell would still be there. And I'd be like, George, you know I don't allow smoking in my home. And it was like instantly gone. It didn't slowly fade away. It was just instantly gone. And then we had other times where I'd be laying in bed and it would feel like something was running their hand up and down my leg. And I'd turn around and I'd think it was my husband coming to bed and he wasn't anywhere in the room. And I'd be like, okay, George, stop it. And one night we were sitting in bed watching TV and all of a sudden the whole bed just like shook. Like when you run your shin into the edge of the bed because you misjudge how far away you are, the whole bed shook like that. And my husband's like, what was that? I'm like, that's George. He's always running into the edge of the bed. And, you know, it was just, he was just there. Never felt threatened. But other than that, I've never had anything haunted to the point where it scared me.
Well, that's good. Yeah. So does your husband believe now that he's a paranormal investigator?
He believes that there are some instances that could occur to that, but he needs to be 100% proven. He's our skeptic of the group. So he's one of those that, you know, I still try to disprove everything first.
Yeah.
But he 100%, it's not haunted until he has that proof.
Well, another good thing, have you ever seen a UFO or unidentified aerial phenomena living in Vegas?
Right.
I'm sure you did. No,
we probably did and just didn't know it because where we lived, we were in the path where the planes would come around where we lived before they lined up to land at the airport.
At the Vegas airport.
Yes. So any lights that we saw, we just kind of blew off as they were, you know, airplanes coming in for a landing.
Yeah. That's what I used to, when I was in the Air Force, I used to have to go to Vegas all the time. Mm-hmm. And I'm not a gambler.
Yeah.
So I would go to Vegas and spend 2 weeks there.
Mm-hmm.
But after the first time, I learned that I should rent a car while I'm there. So I went and I did a bunch of other stuff. Like I went to the Hoover Dam. I went to Lock. It's like it's supposed to be mini Vegas, Lockwood, or some ghost town out there. Had friends in Arizona. I went and visited them. So, because when we weren't flying, we were down. So, especially on the weekends. So,
right. Yeah. There's so many things to do in Vegas. They were constantly keeping us busy with investigations, and, you know, my Ghost Town books covers a whole bunch of that, including in the Ghost Town book, there was Searchlight. Has a chapter about a military plane that crashed, and it was believed that it was a UFO battle in the air because witnesses actually saw a UFO battle, but the military's official report says it was lightning.
Sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, that was very interesting.
Yeah. I just stayed on Nellis. I've never been in Area 51. We weren't even allowed to look at it when we were flying in our airplane around it.
Close your shades.
Yeah, really. Because I did radar planes. So one of the planes looked at the ground and we were told, you know, we would get Article 15 and court-martialed, and we did a synthetic or a radar picture of Area 51. And I was like, okay, that's all right. I'm sure everything's gone from there anyway.
Yeah.
They have it hidden someplace else. No.
Yeah. I've heard that they just keep that there as a decoy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Might have
So
originally after Roswell crashed. The Roswell crash, they might have had something there for a while. But I'm sure it's gone.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I know the one museum I volunteered at, they actually had a train car from Area 51. And it was
Really?
always so interesting because it would be the EMF would be off the charts around that car. But then when you go from where the coupling is, attaching it to the next car on display, it would just flatline and nothing. And then you'd go back to that car, and there was no electricity around it because it was all outdoors in the middle of the desert. The way they
Did you ever have a Geiger counter there?
No, and we should have, but I'm hopefully going back to do another investigation there soon. So
that's cool.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, lots of things out there, and a lot military related.
Yeah. But good restaurants, good eating, other things to do besides go gambling.
Yeah, I think the most we did was play bingo. A couple.
I can't really do bingo like with real bingo players. Because they got 10 cards. I went with my sisters and they like, you need more cards, and I was just cards, and I'm like, I'm so stressed out because I'm not gonna get it. But my friends have up by where they live in North Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, they have their local bar has bingo every Friday night. You get one card at a time.
Yeah.
It's very low stress. I can do that bingo, but
it's like I remember going with my my mom and my grandma, and they would go early, tape their cards down to the table, and it was when they actually used the chips, and then they'd have the magnetic things to pull all the chips up. And I'd be sitting there with my coloring book.
Yeah, I would have rather colored than go to that bingo. Yeah. Courtney has showed up. Hi, Courtney.
Hey, Courtney.
Oh, Resnick says he wants to see the new Exorcist movie. How about you, Heather?
I never saw the first one.
I have, but not in the movie theater.
Yeah, no, I've never seen the first one. I actually just watched The Pope's Exorcist, though.
Yeah, you said that that was interesting. Of course, it's entertainment, but it was interesting.
Yeah.
Did you ever get to see the TV show Evil then?
No.
Okay. That's pretty good.
Okay.
If you want to binge something. It's like I always say, it sounds like a joke. There's a psychologist that's an atheist, a Muslim, and a priest that do investigations for the Catholic Church. So
oh yeah, that's the beginning of a joke. No. But
yeah, it is.
Like the paranormal world.
It's a good show, but I do have to warn you, there's a lot of sex in it. So if that offends you, you probably don't want to watch it.
No, but funny thing is, anytime I'm watching a movie, it could be like a 3-hour movie, 2-hour, it could even be a 10-hour movie for all I care. The minute there's a sex scene, my son walks in the room. And he's like, God, Mom, is this all you watch?
Of course it is, son.
Right.
I remember, so funny story about my parents. So they got, before VHS came out, there was beta.
Yeah.
And me and my friend, we were out bowling or something. I don't even know what we were doing, but we came home. We walk in my living room. The front door was in the living room. The TV is snow, like poltergeist snow. There's nothing on the TV. My sister is sitting there. She has a blanket over her head. My mom is sitting there and she's got a paper bag on her head. And my dad and my brother-in-law sitting in the chairs. I walked in and I said, oh, you guys are watching a porno, aren't you? Ron's like, it's the first one I ever seen it. I got to watch it with my parents. But, that was, beta. And it's like, hey, don't have to go to a sleazy theater. I don't know. So, yeah, my parents didn't watch porn all the time. It was just because it was a new thing.
Sure it was.
Sorry, Mom. Sorry, Dad.
Or it's like
I'm going to get haunted on that.
what
But
was
tell
it,
them the truth, Leigh.
the Cinemax days where you had the to watch it in between the bars because you didn't order Cinemax, but you
yeah. Or you flip the station real quick and you got some. Like, because it would show up for about 3 seconds and it would go away.
right.
See, kids don't understand these days, the things we had to go through.
I remember having friends over and, because on the block I grew up, I was the only girl on the block. So, I mean, it was like everybody, all the neighbors had boys and they'd come over because we had cable and no one else did. And they'd be like, do you have Cinemax? And I'm like, no. They're like, we can still make it work.
Did you have brothers?
No, I was an only child.
Oh.
Yeah. I grew up a tomboy.
Yeah. Yeah, I have one brother, and then I just have my other siblings are all sisters, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I was not afraid to play football with the boys out when, we had an empty field next to our house and we'd play football and baseball and I was out there right there with them.
Good. Yeah. Well, being in the Air Force and being on an airplane in the Air Force, a lot of times I went places and I was the only girl or one of two. So that was ours. But, and then because I just didn't, these guys are married, I'm friends with them. And then they would be telling their wife story about, and then Leigh drove the van and blah, 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 blah. And then they meet me and they're like, Leigh's a girl. I'm like, yeah, I'm a girl. But then they meet me and they realize that I'm not a threat. So what kind of things do you have coming up in your world?
Like I said, I have the 2 classes. I am still trying to figure out where exploring the paranormal is going to land. I have a few things that I was going to do, but those might not work because I'm taking a full-time job temporarily just to save a down payment to move. And but I am finishing up Haunted Florida Ghost Towns is already written into the publisher. And I'm in the process of finishing up Haunted Florida Roadside Attractions and Ghosts and Legends of Florida Pirates.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to all of those coming up.
Thank you.
And I really appreciate you coming on my show. And I'm sorry that it's not going to be here anymore. And I've had some people go, oh, you need to continue on. You need to. And I was just like, I'll think about it.
You can do it. And that's the nice thing about doing it on your own channel. You're not stuck at any set time.
Yeah, I guess so. And then people can always go back and watch it.
Yep.
Okay. Well, where can people find you too? And your books?
You can find me at heatherleighphd.com or on Facebook at Dr. Heather Leigh or Exploring the Paranormal Show. And then the books are available on Amazon, or you can directly reach out to me to get an autographed copy. And then also on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or you can get it from your local bookstores.
She'll sign it in pink.
I know.
Then
that's my
bag. She sent it in a ghost bag. It was the cutest mail I've ever gotten in my life.
Everybody loves my ghost bags.
I know, they're great. I was like, oh, ghost bag? What did I get?
Well, the funniest thing is when I started sending out my first book last year, they were starting to get mailed out at Christmas time. And here everybody had these bright Christmas packages all ready to go. And here I am with my black and orange ghost bags shipping out books.
Good job.
They even know my husband when he comes in. They're like, oh, is this for your wife who's the author? Because he comes in with them for me sometimes.
Aww. Well, that's
Rez, reach out to me and I'll make sure I get you an autographed copy.
Aww.
I still have a whole bunch. The convention was slow, so I have a ton left over.
Cool. And I will be hanging out with Rez this weekend. We have the Glen Beulah Paranormal Great Lakes Paranormal Conference in Glen Beulah, Wisconsin.
Ooh, and that sounds like fun.
Yeah, I'm camping. I'm going up there on Thursday, And the conference is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we're going to have a great time. Lots of interesting speakers, and I'm sure I'll learn a lot.
Make sure you share photos and let me know how it went.
If I remember to take pictures.
I'm the
I'm
same
not
way.
good at that.
I took 2 this weekend.
Yeah, we're going to have fun. We were talking about this before. We're going to have a paranormal potluck somehow. No.
Ooh.
All right. Well, thank you again, Dr. Leigh, who has the best last name in the world.
Thank you.
Thank you for being on my show. And your show is on tomorrow, right?
Yep. I have Jeff Mudgett. We're going to be talking about his great-grandfather, H.H. Holmes.
Cool.
Yep.
Yeah, looking forward to that show. Yep. And thank you, everybody who watched and everybody who watches on the replay. I hope you have a great Monday night and go out and see a movie or watch an old one. Thank you. Good night now.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTKDB.com.
Thank you.